They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
One more minute. Spear's coming up now. Johnny, security's banging off all over. Get a move on.
Just don't hurt me. Just let me go. My God.
Is it someone new?
Would you kindly pick up that shortwave radio?
I don't know how you survived that plane crash, but I've never been one to question providence. I'm Atlas, and I aim to keep you alive. Now keep on moving. We're gonna have to get you to higher ground. Take a deep breath and step out of the bathysphere. I won't leave you twisting in the wind. We're gonna need to draw her out of hiding, but you're gonna have to trust me. Just a bit further.
How do you like that, sister?
Now, would you kindly find a crowbar or something? Bloody splicer. Seal Johnny in before they... Goddamn splicers.
All I want is to meet someone. Leave me alone!
My daddy's smarter than Einstein, stronger than Hercules, and like a fire with a snap of his finger. Are you as good as my daddy, mister? Not if you don't visit the gatherer's garden, you aren't. Your daddy's just like at the garden.
didn't mean to hurt
Give them a combo. Zap them, then whack them. 1-2 punch. Remember, the 1-2 punch.
I'm not a bad person! Come on! I just want to talk!
I've got a family. I need to get them out of here. But the splicers have cut me off from them. If you can reach them in Neptune's bounty, then maybe, just maybe. I know you must feel like the unluckiest man in the world right now. But you're the only hope I'll ever see my wife and child again. Go to Neptune's bounty. Find my family, please.
Why aren't you here? Why is it today and not then? Warm and sweet. Why can't Mommy hold you to her breast and feel your teeth? Oh no. Baby and me! Baby and me!
Plasma's changed everything. They destroyed our bodies, our minds. We couldn't handle it. Best friends butchering one another. Babies strangled in cribs. The whole city went to hell.
out and you're stuck in Festus. Working. Imagine my surprise. I guess I'll have another drink. Here's a toast to Diane McClintock. Silliest girl in Rapture. Silly enough to fall in love with Andrew Ryan. Silly enough. What happened? I'm bleeding. Oh God. What's happening? I'm too spliced up. Nobody's gonna want me.
Hey, Brenda, you care to tell me why you've had a hole in the wall the size of Plymouth Rock coming out of your crapper going on 3 weeks now? Nah, I ain't saying I'm Shakespeare. I'm trying to run a respectable theater. I got working folk coming in from Port Neptune trying to catch a little bird. And all I can think about is the stink coming out of your shitter. Get it fixed.
Careful now. Would you kindly lower that weapon for a minute? You think that's a child down there? Don't be fooled. She's a little sister now. Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster. Whatever you thought about right and wrong on the surface, well, that don't count for much down in Rapture. Those little sisters, they carry Adam, the genetic material that keeps the wheels of Rapture turning. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it. That's the big daddy. She got it on him. He keeps her safe.
Hey, I'm Jeff Keighley here in Boston to go behind the scenes to hear some untold stories about the making of Bioshock with Ken Levine and Sean Robertson. Let's talk a bit about the theme and setting of Bioshock, Rapture. I think a lot of people, when they played the game for the first time, Ken, they wondered, how did you even dream up this place? And I know you said publicly before that part of the reason you sort of, what led you to Rapture was this idea of fully simulating a place. Tell us about that sort of idea and the frustrations you had with other games where you sort of hit a bound.
I think our philosophy was always to do what we were doing 100% rather than try to do something bigger and do it 50% or 40%. So one of the ideas of, and this sort of came from System Shock 2 as well, where you focus on an area that you can really bring to life and you kind of eliminate the questions of, well, why can't I go over the bridge to New Jersey? So we were able to really make a place, I think, that felt believable and real, even though in actuality it was really quite limited. But we just sort of dressed it with all these buildings outside that were all, basically glorified fakes. We let the story drive what we needed to show rather than some kind of like predetermined map which we set down, which is a little different than like System Shock 2, where we actually mapped a spaceship out deck by deck. Yeah. Because I don't know what the philosophy felt a little different there, because you want to feel like a real spaceship that was sort of stacked on top of each other. But Rapture was free to sprawl across the ocean floor.
Although you guys originally, Sean, were talking about doing this game on a sort of spaceship again, right?
Yeah, when we first started talking about what the spiritual successor to System Shock 2 was going to be, Spaceship came up, but again, we wanted a limited environment, and we didn't necessarily want to do Spaceship again. And our first actual exploration of this space was underwater, but ultimately ended up looking like a spaceship. It just happened to have a couple of seaweed fronds outside. And that started to push us towards what artistic statement that we wanted to make this look different, and what rules we were going to set for the world. How at every turn we were going to try to remind the player that they were in fact underwater and that this wasn't a spaceship.
And how, like, underwater, we obviously know you did underwater, then sitting in the sky, like where did you come with the idea of like doing this underwater?
I think there was probably a conversation. It's like, well, what kind of places could be cut off from other places? Yeah. Like, well, spaceship, summer camp, any island notion, right? Something that's cut off from the rest of the world. Yeah. So you never felt like you should be able to go over that bridge to New Jersey.
I don't want to apply some deep and meaningful conversation. I think it was one of those ideas that you just kind of say, and then everybody's, that sounds cool. Let's try that. Let's go for it.
And I think it lended itself to having very nice views out the window without having to build an insane amount of unique assets.
Right.
By today's standards, we still were a small team back then. And there's an expectation that because you're underwater, the view distances are going to be short, so you can really kind of fade out into the fog at a short distance and not have the expectation that, why can't I see forever? So there's a lot of limitations in a good way that we put on ourselves by being underwater, as opposed to, like, if you're on a cruise ship, then you'd expect to see across the water, and we'd have to deal with that. Same thing with an island.
Or in a city in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was a lot more complicated, yeah.
So you came up with the idea of, let's do this underwater, let's do this sort of isolated place. Then you had to answer the question of, why would someone build this? Is that sort of how it worked, sort of order of operations? You then had to come up with a story to explain?
Yeah, I think we wanted a very believable reason why they'd be there. Right. And sort of the necessary isolation of the place sort of led to, well, what kind of person would want to do this? And I wasn't even particularly aware of the sort of political implications of what I was reading, but I've been reading, I had read The Fountainhead. Right. By Ayn Rand, and I mostly thought it was an interesting story. Like, I didn't realize that people were sort of basing their sort of political lives around it, because I wasn't that tuned in to that stuff at that point. And so, but I love the dialogue and the kind of speechifying in it, because you can see a video game character speaking with that kind of certainty and that kind of confident philosophy. It just seemed like a natural kind of thing to apply to this place, and so it just sort of all came together as a sort of who is the guy who would do this? Well, you know, that character. He was sort of this amalgamation of characters from Ayn Rand's books and Ayn Rand herself. This sort of idealistic person who says, well, the only way to do this is to separate from the rest of the world. And that led to Andrew Ryan.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone.
We knew from a technical standpoint that we wanted isolation. We also knew to sell it, we needed a compelling storyline, a backstory that why would this place exist? Otherwise, how are we going to make Rapture feel like it's lived in if we don't have the reason for it to be there? So once we decided on the underwater location and then the closed off spaces, that objectivist story kind of came in and made the art stronger and made the level design stronger because we could feed back into that loop.
And I think that's why we had to have sort of Andrew Ryan's pitch right at the beginning of the game. We wanted people to understand why somebody would go there. And so he makes this very personal one-to-one pitch to the gamer, but also that was the pitch he'd make to people, which was, you know, there's a place that you can be free of all these things, where you can not be sort of put upon by the government and not be afraid of nuclear war and not be afraid of all these other things that will plague you on the surface. We wanted that pitch to sort of resonate and make sense, because that's, otherwise by the time you got there you'd be like, well, this place is just fantasy, nobody would ever come here. And that the beauty of the place was also tied into that. It had to be a very attractive proposition, or people who would believe that people would go leave their lives and go to the bottom of the ocean.
I'm sure in some ways you had to convince the team and enroll them in your sort of vision of, you know, who this character was going to be and what the setting was going to be. How did that work, Sean? I mean, did Ken come in and
Don't you disrespect me! Tenderloin. If you serve that in any respectful hotel in New York, they'd laugh you out of town.
I didn't touch her! That's all you got!
Look at Kate Blanchett will make a game of it. I just adore the summertime. Tell the minister he'll just have to...
Pardon?
The darling is a ghost!
boxer. First shot. Smile. And be yourself. Calm down! On me? Report!
Where are you going?
Please! Just like it! I gotta break his leg! Come on! Damn it!
It's Ryan! Goddamn Andrew Ryan! Found him! Damn it! They shut off access to Neptune. There's another way to get there. Head to medical. What are you waiting for? Go! Oh, Christ! You're trapped! Gonna try to override the exit from here.
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent you? The KGB wolf or the CIA jackal? Here's the news. Rapture isn't some sunken ship for you to plunder. And Andrew Ryan isn't a giddy socialite who can be slapped around by government's muscle. And with that, farewell. Or Dos Lavagna, whichever.
He's terribly funny. His wife is
Keep away from my patient! Oh, no! Nurse, help me find this patient. Nurse! Is somebody there? Potter! Oh.
daft bastard set up shop in the surgery wing. You want to find them? Just follow the blood.
Adam presents new problems for the professional. As your tools improve, so do your standards. There was a time I was happy enough to take off a warden. Turn a real circus freak into something you can show in the daylight, but that was then. When we took what we got, but...
Remember, all them machines will short out right and proper if you hit them with electrovolt.
I am beautiful, yes. Look at me. What could I do to make my features finer? With Adam and my scalpel, I have been transformed. But is there not something better? What if now it is not my skill that fails me, but my imagination? When Picasso became bored of painting people, he started representing them as cubes and other abstract forms. The world called him a genius. I've spent my entire surgical career creating the same tired shapes over and over again. The upturned nose, the cleft chin, the ample bosom. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I could do with a knife what that old Spaniard did with a brush?
Security cameras. I can hear the infernal things all around you. Ryan's eyes and ears.
any respectable hotel. Darling!
Light up foes to 1,000 degrees. Warning, fire spreads.
All roads in Rapture lead to Ryan. Security, the splicers, the big daddies, the little sisters. He pumps some kind of chemical scent in the air. Pheromones, they call it. Makes them all dance to his tune.
A rapture reminder. The can also be a dangerous place. Any leak is a bad one. Report any.
It has been brought to my attention that some citizens have discovered ways to hack the vending machines. I do not need to remind each and every citizen of Rapture that free enterprise is the foundation upon which our society has been established. Parasites will be punished.
Terribly funny, but his wife is weak.
Steinman, I know Medical Pavilion is your matter, but you might want to concentrate on this. Ocean water is colder than a witch's tip. You don't heat the pipes freeze. Pipes freeze, pipes burst, then Rapture leaks. Now, I realise you're a posh sort of geezer, and frankly, I don't give a toss if you piss or go fishing. But once Rapture starts leaking, the old girl's never going to stop. And then I'll be sure to tell Ryan he's got you to thank.
Welcome to the Circus of Value! You're craving from the
Why do we have two eyes? There's a law that says we must. We're not finished.
You'll have to find some way to get through to surgery and Steinman. Chin up now. The Lord hates a quitter. I can hear that splicer sounding off like it's the 4th of July. Explosives are hard to come by down here. If you get your hands on one of them telekinesis blasts, you can catch the damn firebombs and toss it right back in his gob.
Welcome
or
to
anything
the
else that might be
Circus
standing
of
in your way.
Value!
You're crawling!
You know, the problem's not in your hair, it's in your genes. Hey, I don't go into all that splicing stuff. My buddy says it's not safe. Shows you what your buddy knows. Go over to Genetic Horizons for a trial of fresh hair. Fresh hair not only gives you a full head of thick hair, but it's 100% safe. And 100% safe. Maybe it's time for me to get a little fresh hair.
Don't you disrespect me!
The Holocaust, dictatorship,
stars belong to everyone. They gleam there for you and me. The flowers in spring, the robins, the trees, the sunbeams that shine, they're yours, they're mine, and belong to everyone. The best things in life are free. Honey, the moon belongs to you. The best things in life, and the stars, they belong to everyone. They're shining up there for you and for me.
Clinical trial Route 23, Dr. Suchong. Client Fontaine Futuristics. Work on telekinesis plasmid proceeding well. Lifting objects at distance presents no problem. Moving objects through space, no problem. Cannot stop speeding bullet, but can catch and throw faster moving object. Problem not with plasmid. Problem with reaction time. Suchong.
Throw objects at foes. You can even catch grenades and throw them back.
Just get an idea for plasmid.
The best things in life are free. Just adore it.
Oh, yeah.
The men all complain about their grid, but I can make you. You better come out. I just want to bind your wounds.
Is that someone now? I'm sorry, you fuck!